every year, at least in this country, the last week of January is designated as Catholic Schools Week. I'm not sure why, but I think it's because we have three big saints this week that we remember who were involved in Catholic education. Today, St. Angela Merici, Italian, who founded the Ursuline Order of Nuns, and they had Catholic schools for girls. Then tomorrow is St. Thomas Aquinas. He's known as a great theologian. He's a member of the Dominican orders, and Dominicans have schools and universities and such. And then Friday is the Feast of St. John Bosco, and he dedicated himself to teaching and taking care of adolescent and teenage boys in Italy, founded an order known as the Salesians, and they have Catholic schools all over the country. And in our country, we've had a great tradition of Catholic schools and parishes, and it goes back to the first plenary council of bishops in Baltimore in 1852. Why Baltimore? Because that was the first diocese in this country. And there were three great councils of bishops in the 1800s, 1852, before the Civil War, 1866, right after the Civil War, and 1884, when our country was growing like crazy. And in each one of those councils, the bishops mandated that every single Catholic parish had to have a Catholic school. And by the time they got to the third plenary council, they said, and if the pastor doesn't build it within 3 years, he gets fired. So you had these immense growth of Catholic schools all over the country. It gets better, he said, and the students should be able to go for free, and we should have religious orders teaching in them, and the parish should support it. Why were the bishops so concerned with starting Catholic schools? Because many of the people coming to this country who were Catholic came from foreign countries where most of the people there were Catholic. France, Italy, Ireland, Poland, Germany, and such. But here, they were surrounded by a lot of people who weren't Catholic, and people were beginning to lose their faith, and so the bishops thought the best thing to do is have Catholic schools. And in my own case, and I was saying this yesterday, I was preaching at St. Catherine Labouré for the beginning of their Catholic Schools Week. I went to a Lutheran kindergarten, go figure, because there's no room in the Catholic school. I mean, it was all filled out. Then a Catholic grade school, public high school, secondary university, and then Pontifical University in Rome. And the biggest difference between the public high school and the Catholic schools is they had a much bigger gym. And they had a lot more food in the cafeteria because it was subsidized by the government. It was pretty good, right? At the Catholic school, you got hot dog day once a month for $1. You got a hot dog, a Coke, and potato chips. And we thought, like, that's awesome, right? But at the public school, you had 4 choices. You could get, right, mystery meat and mac and cheese and chocolate chip cookies and, you know. So what's the difference really between a public school, which Cardinal George referred to as a government school, and a Catholic school? In a Catholic school, you talk about Jesus, Mary and Joseph, the angels and saints, and Catholic morality. Public school, you can't. And so the biggest challenge for Catholic schools in our country today is how do people afford them? Because in most states, when you pay your property tax, the bulk of that goes to support the local public schools, but nothing goes to support the Catholic schools. And people have the mistaken notion that there's such a thing as government money. There's no such thing as government money. It's private money, which is hard-earned money that private people then pay to the government, and then they distribute it, right? Some states are beginning to catch on, like Indiana and Florida, where they have an $8,000 voucher per student, and the parents can make a choice where they want to send their child to school, because ultimately, the job of raising children is the parents' job, and the schools work for the parents. And many times we have that confused. We think, you know, the government takes care of everything and we work for the government. That's not the case at all, right? So I would encourage you and all who are listening today, please support your local Catholic school and help it be truly Catholic, because sometimes Catholic schools lose their way and people take their students out. They do homeschooling or they start their own Catholic schools, and that's fair because parents are the ones who have the biggest responsibility to make that judgment. St. Josemaria used to say, when it comes to school, in the first place, it's the parents, second place, it's the teacher, and the third place, it's students. And we think, well, isn't that backwards? Shouldn't the students come first? Well, if you really want the best for the students, it begins with your attention to the parents and then your attention to the teachers, that be well-chosen models of virtue who love what they do and love the children and teach them. And in a Catholic school, you want to have it a situation where For the most part, the parents are 100% practicing Catholics. And that really affects the whole tone of the school. What does it mean to be a practicing Catholic? It's pretty simple. You go to Mass on Sundays, and you keep the days of penance. That's Lent and Fridays, right? And you go to Mass, and then you receive communion at least once a year. That's not too hard, right? And you go to confession at least once a year. That's not too hard. And you support the church financially and get married in the church. Now people say, yeah, but Father, you're really out of touch. I mean, maybe 50% of Catholics go to Mass on Sunday. Okay, you could take that as bad news, or you could say there's a challenge. And the challenge is, okay, well, the rest of us, if we go twice a week, then that's 100%, right? 2 times 50% is 100%. We learned that in 5th grade, right? You say, well, Father, it's really not like that. Maybe 33% go to Mass on Sunday. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, if the rest of it go 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday, 3 times 33, that's 100%. Yeah, you could do that. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, but Father, really, in some parts of the country, like on the coast, maybe 14% go to Mass on Sunday. Okay, well, if you go, the rest of us go every day of the week, 7 times 14 is 98, round up to 100%, you got it that way, right? So there is the challenge. And one of the beautiful things in the Catholic faith is our intellectual tradition. What I love about theologians who are truly Catholic, if they don't know the answer, they don't make it up. We don't know that answer, right? And that's very appealing. Or if we do know it, we do know it. We can make a distinction between science and empiricism and philosophy and theology, and it becomes intellectually very attracting. But the greatest thing the Catholic Church has going for it is Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and the example of the saints. And so we cheer for St. Angelo Merici today, and tomorrow St. Thomas Aquinas, and St. John Bosco at the end of the week.